A shocking story tonight involving BC's child welfare system. A former male prostitute gets a job as a care worker at a Richmond foster home where he sexually assaults a teenager in his care. As Kirk Williams reports, critics are demanding answers from the provincial government.
It's all here in this Freedom of Information request. Well, not all. Some of the details are whited out. But what remains paints a dark picture of the sexual abuse of a vulnerable 17-year-old boy in a Richmond foster home. The caregiver, 51-year-old Kevin Fanning, pleaded guilty to sexual exploitation and assault in 2009. But how did Fanning, himself abused as a child and a former male prostitute, get the job in the first place? There were supposed to be criminal and background checks, but the person running the group home never provided them, despite repeated requests from the province.
Most definitely this calls for a full, independent investigation into what happened here, into how many other children may have been affected by this same caregiver.
We've really overhauled our entire criminal record checks procedure.
The minister responsible says the man did not have a criminal record, so a check wouldn't have turned up anything. But the system has been overhauled, partly because of this case. The province has taken the job of getting the checks away from foster parents.
We at the Ministry of Children and Family Development centrally are the ones responsible for making sure those checks are conducted, and we're also the ones who maintain the records on that.
BC's children's advocate is not convinced. She's asked for whole groups of caregivers to be re-screened, and the province has rejected that.
I'm not confident that the new criminal record screening process, it's only been in place for less than 6 months. There hasn't been an audit. Is it working? I've audited it in the past and found really serious issues.
Now, Turpel Lafon says her office may launch a full investigation into this case, despite the province saying the investigation is over and there is no indication abuse occurred at other foster homes where Fanning worked. Gloria?
Kirk, thank you.
New information in the case involving a mother suspected of killing 2 of her adopted daughters and storing their bodies in a freezer. Eyewitness News has learned social services in Calvert County did have some contact with the family in the past. Suzanne Collins reports.
The horrible details began to emerge in Calvert County Monday when a 7-year-old, obviously abused girl escapes her mother's house and begs neighbors for help. Police find a freezer in the basement with the bodies of what the mother, Renee Bowman, says are her 2 other adopted daughters, 9 and 11. Bowman used to live in Montgomery County, where she admitted to police they were killed more than a year ago.
These 2 little girls deserve justice in the end after losing their lives. And we're all doing everything we can to find out the truth behind this.
Montgomery detectives dug up some of the backyard of Bowman's former rental house in Aspen Hill after a cadaver dog indicated interest, but nothing was found. Inside, police were looking for any evidence, but it's been totally renovated. Montgomery County police say it's almost as if these 3 adopted girls didn't exist in the outside world. In this house where they believe 2 of them were murdered, neighbors say they don't remember seeing children, and they were never enrolled in any Maryland school. Neighbors in southern Maryland also say they didn't ever see the surviving child outdoors.
I didn't see any children, just all their dogs.
For a short time, Bowman did live in Charles County, too, and tonight Social Services is reporting it did respond to a complaint about a neglected child there in January, but say the child looked healthy and the house clean. The investigation continues into why a Washington, D.C. court allowed this mother to adopt her former foster children in the first place. Suzanne Collins, WJZ, Eyewitness News.
The Child Welfare Agency earlier said it had never been contacted about Bowman, but they did find a complaint when they learned she used an alias.
Just weeks after the disturbing discovery was made, police tentatively identified the bodies found in a basement freezer. A family friend confirmed the bodies are that of Jasmine and Minute Bowman, who would be 9 and 11. That's based on a photo of the girls, which was found in the home. The girls' adopted mother, Renee Bowman, is suspected in their deaths. Police found the bodies inside Bowman's southern Maryland home last month. It's not clear when, where, or how the girls died. Police believe they may have been dead since at least last November. At that time, the family lived outside Washington, but moved about 60 miles away. Autopsies are being performed on the girls. It could take several more weeks before results are known. Bowman hasn't been charged in the girls' deaths. Right now, she's charged with abusing a 3rd adopted daughter. Neighbors found that 7-year-old after she jumped from a second-story window. Ed Donahue, The Associated Press.
Right up the top tonight, the Maryland woman convicted of killing her 2 daughters, then stuffing their bodies in a freezer, learns her fate. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brian Bolter.
And I'm Sean Yancey. Renee Bowman will spend the rest of her life behind bars with no possibility of parole. Today in court, she apologized, but only for the allegations of child abuse. She still claims she did not murder her daughters. It was an emotional day, even for the judge. Paul Wagner joins us now with what the judge had to say. Paul?
Sean, you are a murderer. That's how Judge Michael Algeo began his comments to Renee Bowman, telling the convicted killer he didn't believe her story. The two made eye contact as the judge handed Bowman a sentence that will keep her locked up for the rest of her life.
Renee Bowman didn't testify at trial. In fact, her defense consisted mainly of one expert taking issue with the medical examiner's ruling on a cause of death, asphyxia. Prosecutors say Bowman's adopted daughters, Monet and Jasmine, were smothered. Testimony during trial also revealed they were badly beaten. In court today, Renee Bowman admitted she abused the girls, telling the judge, "I'm very sorry for the abuse of the girls. It haunts me. It haunts me every day." But in a measured tone, Judge Michael Algeo made eye contact with Bowman, telling her, "You sentenced these 2 young innocent children in the dawn of their lives to a death chamber, and for you, that option is not available. I see no remorse, empathy, caring. I see nothing, just emptiness, no guilt, no accountability." Prosecutor John McCarthy agreed.
Even as she spoke those words, she was without any human emotion in her face, not a tear that has been shed. The judge shed more tears today in his sentencing comments than she shed during the course of the trial.
Judge Algeo became emotional as he talked about his own family, noting the importance of a parent in a child's life.
These are difficult cases, and there is an emotional toll when you do them.
Prosecutors say Renee Bowman used her 3 adopted children as a source of income, collecting more than $150,000 from social services, some of it after the girls were dead. She had the locks reversed on the girls' bedroom door, giving them a bucket to use as a toilet. Evidence at trial showed the girls were very badly beaten. The arms were broken on one of the girls. Renee Bowman was arrested after the youngest girl escaped from what prosecutors called a house of horrors. Now 9, the girl testified at trial, telling the jury how her ex-mother, as she now calls her, would abuse her.
Prosecutors believe Monet and Jasmine were each dead for over a year before their bodies were discovered, wrapped in duct tape and plastic. Bowman's attorney says he will appeal the murder convictions. On top of the 2 life sentences she was given, Judge Algeo also gave Bowman 25 years on each of the 3 child abuse counts to be served consecutively. Short of winning on appeal, Renee Bowman will die in prison. Sean.
Paul Wagner live in the newsroom. Thank you.